The fluorescent lights in the 24-hour diner buzz overhead, casting everything in a sickly yellow glow that makes even the fresh coffee look stale. I balance 3 plates along my left arm, while my right hand clutches a coffee pot, muscle memory guiding me through the obstacle course of cracked vinyl booths and wobbly tables. 2 in the morning on a Thursday, and Bernie's diner is doing its usual business, which means a handful of insomniacs, 2 truck drivers, and the kind of people who have nowhere else to be. My feet ache in the non-slip shoes I bought secondhand, and I can feel a blister forming on my heel. 4 more hours until my shift ends. 4 more hours until I can go home, shower off the smell of grease and desperation, and maybe sleep for 3 hours before starting all over again. Order up, Maya. Bernie's gravelly voice cuts through the clatter of dishes. I deliver the plates to table 6, force a smile for the truck driver who never tips, and head back to the kitchen window. 27 years old. Bachelor's degree in social work gathering dust in a drawer. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. And here I am, slinging hash at a diner that hasn't been renovated since 1993, because helping people doesn't pay rent in Chicago, and social services had been the first thing cut in the last budget crisis. I grabbed the next order. Shepherd's pie and a side salad. No onions, extra dressing. Mrs. Kowalski, one of our regulars, a 70-something widow who comes in every Thursday night because eating alone at home feels too lonely. She always orders the same thing. Always leaves exactly 15%. Always tells me about her grandson who's doing so well in Minnesota. Here you go, Mrs. K, I say, setting down her plate with care that has nothing to do with the job, and everything to do with the fact that she reminds me of my own grandmother before the cancer took her. You're a good girl, Maya. Mrs. Kowalski pats my hand with papery fingers. Too good for this place. I want to tell her that good doesn't pay bills, that my student loan payment is 2 weeks overdue and my landlord has started leaving increasingly less friendly notes on my door, that I've been rationing groceries and haven't bought new clothes in over a year. Instead, I smile and refill her water glass. The bell above the door chimes, and I glance up out of habit. 3 men walk in, and the temperature in the diner seems to drop 10 degrees. They wear expensive suits that look out of place among the peeling laminate and worn linoleum. The kind of suits that cost more than I make in 6 months. But it isn't the clothes that make my instincts scream warning. It's the way they move, with predatory awareness, scanning exits and angles before they even fully enter. The way conversations die at nearby tables. The way Bernie's hand stills on the spatula as he watches them through the kitchen window. The man in the center commands attention without saying a word. Tall, well over 6 feet, with dark hair swept back from a face that's all sharp angles and Mediterranean features. His eyes, nearly black in the dim lighting, sweep across the diner with calculating precision. He can't be much older than 35, but he carries himself with the confidence of someone who's never been told no in his life. A heavy gold ring glints on his right hand, engraved with what looks like a family crest. They choose a booth near the back, and I feel every instinct I possess scream at me to send Linda, the other waitress on shift, to take their order. But Linda is in the back on her break, and Bernie catches my eye with a look that says, we can't afford to piss off customers, no matter who they are. I grab menus and approach their table, my heartbeat too loud in my ears. Up close, the danger is even more palpable. The 2 men flanking the one in the center have the unmistakable bulge of weapons beneath their jackets. The main one, the one in the center, studies me with dark eyes that miss nothing. Welcome to Bernie's, I say, proud that my voice stays steady. Can I start you with coffee? Cafe, Nero. His voice is low, controlled, with an Italian accent that turns the simple words into music. Coffee, black. Not quite a request, not quite a command. Something in between that makes it clear he expects compliance. I pour 3 cups, hyper-aware of his gaze following my movements. My hands don't shake, but it's close. When I set down the last cup, his fingers brush mine deliberately, and I jerk back as if burned. Food? I manage, pen poised over my order pad. Non-ho fame, he says, still watching me with that unnerving intensity. Then, switching to English, not hungry, just the coffee. His companions say nothing, haven't taken their eyes off the diner's interior since sitting down. Guards, enforcers. Whatever they call themselves, I recognize the type. I grew up on the South Side, where power came from fear and respect was earned through violence. Let me know if you need anything else, I say, already turning away. His hand shoots out and catches my wrist. The touch is firm, not painful, but absolutely inescapable. His fingers circle my wrist completely, warm against my skin, and every nerve ending in my body fires warning signals. I freeze, my breath catching in my throat. The diner, already quiet, goes completely silent. I can feel every eye in the place on us. "What's your name?" he asks, his thumb pressing against my pulse point. Can he feel it hammering? Can he sense the fear that turns my blood to ice? Maya. The word comes out steadier than I feel. Maya Torres. Maya Torres, he repeats, as if testing how it sounds. His accent makes my name sound exotic, different. You've been working here long? Every instinct screams at me to be polite, to play along, to not antagonize the kind of man who has armed guards drinking coffee at 2 a.m. But something else rises up in me, something that has been building through months of struggling, of being overlooked and underestimated, of swallowing anger and fear and frustration until I feel like I'm drowning in it. Let go of my wrist, I say quietly. His eyebrows rise slightly, surprise flickering across features that are almost too perfectly arranged. Scusa? You heard me. My voice gains strength. Let go. Now. One of his guards shifts forward, but the man in the center raises his other hand slightly, halting the movement without looking away from me. His grip on my wrist hasn't loosened. If anything, his thumb presses slightly harder against my pulse. You don't know who I am, he says, and it isn't a question. It's a statement of fact, tinged with something that might be amusement or might be threat. I don't care who you are, I reply, and even as I say it, part of me screams that I'm making a terrible mistake. You're holding my wrist without permission. That's assault. So let go. His eyes darken. Something dangerous, flashing in their depths. The air around our table seems to thicken, pressing down with the weight of potential violence. Bernie has gone pale behind the counter. Mrs. Kowalski has her hand over her mouth. The truck drivers are carefully not looking in our direction, which somehow makes it worse. Assault, he repeats, his voice dropping to something soft and deadly. That's an interesting word choice. It's accurate. My heart hammers so hard I think it might burst through my ribs, but I hold his gaze. Now let go, or I'll scream loud enough that even your friends won't be able to explain away whatever happens next. For a moment, nothing moves. Time crystallizes around us, balanced on a knife's edge. Then his mouth curves into something that isn't quite a smile, more a baring of teeth. Scream, he says. I'm curious what you think that would accomplish. It happens faster than thought. My free hand comes up and connects with his face with a crack that echoes through the silent diner. The impact jars up my arm, painful and sharp, and a red mark blooms instantly across his olive-skinned cheek. He releases my wrist. The silence that follows feels like the pause before an execution. His guards are on their feet in an instant, hands reaching inside their jackets. The other customers press themselves back into booths, and Bernie makes a small sound of distress from behind the counter. I stand frozen, my palms stinging, watching the man I've just struck raise a hand again to stop his guards from drawing their weapons. Slowly, deliberately, he touches his cheek where my handprint stands out starkly against his skin. Then he looks at me, and something in his expression makes my blood run cold. Not anger, not rage, but fascination, dark and consuming, like I'm a puzzle he's just discovered and is determined to solve. What's your full name? He asks, his voice eerily calm. I already told you. No. He stands, and the height difference between us feels like a threat all its own. I mean everything. Where you live. Where you work besides this diner. Everything. None of your business. My legs tremble, adrenaline making my whole body shake, but I refuse to step back. He reaches into his jacket, and my heart stops. But instead of a weapon, he pulls out a business card, holding it between 2 fingers. The cardstock is expensive, cream-colored with embossed text. A family crest at the top, and below it, just a phone number. That's where you're wrong, he says. You just made it my business. He sets the card on the table between us. You have 24 hours to call that number. If you don't, I'll find you anyway, but it will be much less pleasant. I'm not calling you. His smile widens, and it's the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. Beautiful and deadly, like a blade catching light. Yes, you will. Because you're intelligent enough to understand what happens to people who slap Alessandro Vitali in public and then walk away. The name hits me like a physical blow. Alessandro Vitali. Even I, living paycheck to paycheck and avoiding the news because it's too depressing, know that name. The Vitali family. 4 generations running Chicago's near West Side, controlling everything from Taylor Street to Grand Avenue. Restaurants, construction, waste management, unions. Old Italian money with roots that go back to Prohibition, when Alessandro's great-grandfather came from Palermo with nothing but a knife and ambition. Mrs. Kowalski makes a small whimpering sound. Bernie has gone white as death. One of the truck drivers is already heading for the exit, leaving cash scattered on his table. Murda, I whisper, the Spanish curse slipping out before I can stop it. So you do know who I am. Alessandro's smile turns predatory. Good. That makes this easier. He gestures to his men, and they move toward the door. Before following them, he turns back to me one last time. 24 hours, Maya Torres. Don't make me come looking for you. They leave, and the diner erupts in frantic whispers. Bernie is on the phone immediately, probably calling his cousin who knows someone in the Vitali organization, trying to figure out if we're all about to lose our jobs or worse. I sink into the nearest booth, my legs finally giving out. The business card sits on the table where Alessandro left it, the embossed family crest catching the fluorescent light. A lion and a grapevine, symbols of strength and prosperity. The Vitali crest, recognized throughout Chicago's Italian community and feared by anyone who understands what it represents. I slap the head of the Vitali crime family. In public, in front of witnesses. I'm either the bravest person in Chicago or the stupidest. Probably the stupidest. Maya. Bernie appears at my side, his face still pale. You need to call that number. Tonight. Right now. I'm not calling him. Maya, listen to me. I've lived in this city my whole life. My family, we're from the old neighborhood. We know how things work. The Vitales, they don't make idle threats. If Alessandro Vitali tells you to call, you call. If he says jump, you ask how high. You don't, you slap him in my diner. Bernie runs a hand through his thinning hair. Dio mio, girl. What were you thinking? I was thinking he had no right to grab me like that. He's Alessandro Vitali. He has whatever rights he wants. Bernie's voice rises, then drops to an urgent whisper. Look, I get it. You got principles. You got boundaries. That's good. That's admirable. But principles don't mean shit when you're dealing with the mob. These people, they don't play by normal rules. Then maybe someone needs to teach them the normal rules. Bernie stares at me like I've lost my mind. Maybe I have. You call him. Tonight. You apologize. You do whatever he wants. And you pray to every saint you can name that he decides to let this go. He grips my shoulder. Please, Maya. I can't lose another waitress. And I really don't want to go to your funeral. After my shift ends at 6 a.m, I walk home through streets that are just starting to wake up. The business card burns in my pocket like a brand. I should throw it away. I should change my name and move to another city. I should do anything except what I'm actually considering, which is calling the number. But Bernie's words replay in my mind. So do the faces of everyone in that diner, the fear in their eyes when they heard Alessandro's name. And underneath that, something else. The way Alessandro looked at me, not with rage but with fascination. The way he stopped his guards without a word. The way he gave me 24 hours instead of just taking whatever information he wanted. He could have had his men grab me, could have made me disappear right there. Instead, he gave me a card and a deadline. Why? I reach my apartment building, a rundown brownstone in Pilsen that I share with 5 other tenants who are all as broke as I am. The radiator doesn't work, the hot water is temperamental, and there's a concerning stain on the ceiling of my bedroom that grows larger every time it rains. But it's mine, or at least I'm renting it, and after a 10-hour shift smelling like grease and desperation, walking through my door feels like a small victory. I shower, change into pajamas that are more holes than fabric, and stare at the business card on my nightstand. The embossed crest seems to mock me. Call, don't call. Each choice has consequences I can't fully predict. If I call, I'm entering Alessandro Vitali's world, a world of violence and power and rules I don't understand. If I don't call, he'll find me anyway, and he won't be gentle about it. At 3 p.m, after 4 hours of restless sleep haunted by dark eyes and dangerous smiles, I dial the number. It rings once before a male voice answers. State your name. Maya Torres. I'm calling for, hold. Classical music fills the line. Vivaldi, I think, though I'm not sure. It feels absurdly civilized for a crime family's phone line. After 30 seconds, the music cuts off. Maya Torres. Alessandro's voice is warm, satisfied. I wasn't sure you'd call. You said 24 hours. It's been 13. Impatient. I like that. I can hear the smile in his voice. Where are you right now? Home. Address? Every instinct screams not to tell him, but he'll find out anyway. 2143 West 21st Street, apartment 3B. Stay there. I'll send a car in 1 hour. Wait, I'm not 1 hour, Maya. Don't make me send Marco to convince you. He's less charming than I am. The line goes dead. I stare at my phone, heart racing. An hour. I have an hour to decide if I'm really doing this, if I'm really getting in a car sent by Alessandro Vitali and going God knows where to face consequences I can't predict. I could run, pack a bag, catch a bus, disappear into another city. But I'm tired of running from problems, tired of being afraid. And something about the way Alessandro looked at me, like I was fascinating instead of terrifying, makes me curious despite every reasonable objection. I change into the nicest clothes I own, which aren't very nice. Dark jeans without holes, a gray sweater that's only slightly pilled, the ankle boots I bought at a thrift store. I brush my dark hair until it shines and put on minimal makeup, because showing up looking like I'm trying too hard seems worse than showing up looking like myself. Exactly 1 hour after the phone call, a black Mercedes sedan pulls up outside my building, the same type of car that was parked outside Bernie's, which means Alessandro Vitali has a fleet of them. The driver stays in the car, but the passenger door opens, and a man who wasn't at the diner steps out. He's massive, built like a linebacker, with a scar running from his left eyebrow to his jaw. He wears a suit that strains across his shoulders, and an expression that suggests he's seen things that would give most people nightmares. He looks up at my building, spots me watching from the window, and nods once. I grab my purse and head downstairs before he can come up. Miss Torres. His voice is surprisingly cultured for someone who looks like he could bench press a car. I'm Marco Rossi, Mr. Vitali's consigliere. I'll be escorting you to the family estate. Consigliere. I know that word from movies. The advisor. The one who counsels the boss and handles delicate situations. Having the consigliere personally escort me either means Alessandro takes this seriously or I'm in even more trouble than I thought. Family estate, I repeat. Not an office, not a restaurant. His home. Yes, ma'am. Marco opens the rear door for me. Mr. Vitali thought you'd be more comfortable in a private setting. More comfortable. Right. Because sitting in a crime boss's home is definitely more comfortable than a public, a place where people might notice if I disappear. I get in the car because what else am I going to do? The drive takes 40 minutes, heading west from my neighborhood through increasingly affluent areas until we're in Oak Park. The houses here are massive, historic, the kind that have names instead of just addresses. We pull up to a 3-story Victorian mansion behind a wrought iron gate that opens automatically. The house is beautiful in a way that makes my apartment look even more pathetic than it already is. Cream-colored stone, black shutters, a wraparound porch with actual furniture that probably costs more than I make in a year. Gardens that are meticulously maintained, even though it's only early spring. A fountain in the circular driveway. Marco helps me out of the car. Mr. Vitali is in his study. I'll show you the way. Inside, the house is even more impressive. Hardwood floors that gleam, oriental rugs that are probably antiques, art on the walls that might be originals. Everything speaks of old money, of family legacy, of a world so far removed from mine that we might as well be on different planets. Marco leads me through hallways lined with family photos. I catch glimpses of Alessandro at various ages, always surrounded by people who share his dark eyes and sharp features. An older woman who must be his mother, her hand on young Alessandro's shoulder, pride evident in her smile. A pretty girl around my age, laughing at something off camera. An older man in what looks like a military uniform from decades ago. 4 generations, I remember. This house probably holds the history of the entire Vitali family, from that first immigrant who came with nothing to the current generation that controls a significant portion of Chicago's underworld. Marco stops in front of a door at the end of a hallway and knocks twice. Entra! Alessandro's voice calls from inside. Come in. Marco opens the door, gestures for me to enter, then closes it behind me, leaving. Leave me alone with Alessandro Vitali in a room that smells like leather and old books and expensive whiskey. Alessandro sits behind a massive mahogany desk, but he stands when I enter, showing manners that seem at odds with someone who had me grabbed off the street last night. He's dressed more casually than before, dark jeans and a white button-down with the sleeves rolled up, revealing forearms that are corded with muscle. The gold signet ring is still on his finger, and I can see the family crest clearly now. A lion holding a cluster of grapes. Maya. He says my name like it tastes good. Thank you for coming. Did I have a choice? There's always a choice. You could have run, hidden, tried to disappear. He moves around the desk, leaning against it. But you didn't. You called, and then you showed up. That says something about you. It says I'm either brave or stupid. It says you're someone who faces consequences instead of running from them. That's rare. His eyes travel over me, not lecherously but assessing. You're afraid right now. I can see it in the way you're standing, the way you won't quite meet my eyes. But you're here anyway. You said if I didn't call, you'd find me and it would be less pleasant. That's not exactly an invitation I could refuse. True. He gestures to a leather armchair. Sit, please. We need to talk about what happened last night. I sit, mostly because my legs are shaking. Alessandro moves to a sideboard and pours 2 glasses of amber liquid from a crystal decanter. He hands me one, and the glass is heavy, expensive. The whiskey smells like smoke and honey. I don't drink during the day, I say. Make an exception. You're going to need it. He settles into the chair across from me, close enough that I can see the faint mark on his cheek where I slapped him. Do you understand what you did last night? I defended my boundaries against a man who was violating them. You slapped the head of the Vitali crime family, in front of witnesses, in a public place, in my own territory. His voice is calm, but there's steel underneath. In my world, that's a challenge. A sign of disrespect that can't go unanswered without making me look weak. And weakness in my position gets people killed. My mouth goes dry. So what happens now? You kill me to save face? If I wanted you dead, you'd already be dead. Marco is very efficient. Alessandro takes a sip of his whiskey. No, I have something else in mind. But first, I need to understand why you did it. You're clearly not stupid. You work in a neighborhood where you see people like me all the time. You know what we do, how we operate. So why risk your life over a grabbed wrist? The question surprises me. I expected threats, violence, maybe a lecture about knowing my place. I didn't expect genuine curiosity. Because I'm tired, I hear myself say. Tired of men thinking they can touch me without permission. Tired of being treated like I'm less important because I'm poor or female, or not part of whatever power structure runs things. Tired of being invisible until someone wants something from me. I meet his eyes. You grabbed me like I was property, like my consent didn't matter. So I reminded you that it does. Alessandro is quiet for a long moment, studying me with those dark eyes that miss nothing. You reminded me I'm a man, not a god. That I can be checked. He leans forward. Do you know how long it's been since someone treated me like a person instead of a position? That's not my problem. No. But it could be your opportunity. He sets down his glass. I have a proposal for you, Maya Torres. I'm not sleeping with you. His laugh is genuine, surprised. Dio, you're refreshing. No, that's not what I'm proposing. Though if you ever change your mind about that, I'd be very interested. His expression turns serious. I need someone who can see me clearly. Someone who isn't afraid to tell me when I'm overstepping, who won't. Just nod and agree because I'm Alessandro Vitali. You've proven you have the backbone for it. I want to hire you. As what? Your professional wrist-grabbing monitor? As my employee relations coordinator. He stands, moving to his desk and pulling out a folder. The Vitali family operates numerous legitimate businesses. Restaurants, construction, waste management, real estate. Our legitimate operations employ over 500 people across Chicago. And we have a problem. What kind of problem? Turnover. Low morale. Workers who don't trust management because they know the Vitali name and assume we're all monsters. He hands me the folder. You have a degree in social work. You understand people, understand how to build trust and rapport. I want you to visit our businesses, talk to our employees, figure out what we're doing wrong and how to fix it. I stare at the folder, then at him. You're offering me a job. Because I slapped you. I'm offering you a job because you showed me you have integrity and courage. Those are rare qualities, especially in my world. Alessandro's voice is earnest. Look, I know this is insane. I know you have every reason to tell me to go to hell and walk out. But Maya, I'm serious. I need someone like you. Someone who won't be corrupted by money or intimidated by power. Someone who will tell me the truth even when it's uncomfortable. Why would I work for you? You're a criminal. I'm a businessman with a complicated legacy. Yes, my family has done things that aren't legal. We're working in gray areas that most people don't like to acknowledge exist. But our legitimate businesses, they're completely clean. They employ people who need jobs, people like you who are struggling to make ends meet. And I want to make those businesses better. I want our employees to be happy, to be loyal, to want to work for us instead of feeling trapped. He sits on the edge of his desk, and the intensity in his eyes is almost painful to look at. I'll pay you $80,000 a year. Health insurance, dental, vision, company car. You'll report directly to me, which means you'll have the authority to make real changes. And I promise you, on my family's name, that you'll never be asked to do anything illegal. Your job will be strictly about employee welfare and improving working conditions. $80,000 a year. That's more than I made in the last 2 years combined. That's my student loans paid off. That's being able to afford my mother's medical bills when she inevitably needs them. That's not having to ration groceries or wear shoes with holes. This has to be a trap, I say. There's no way you're offering me a legitimate, well-paying job because I slapped you. It's not a trap. It's an opportunity. For both of us. Alessandro holds my gaze. I need someone like you. Someone who sees past the legend to the reality. And you need a break. A chance to use your degree, to make actual money, to stop drowning. He pauses. 24 hours. That's how long you have to decide. Call me with your answer. You like giving 24-hour deadlines. I like giving people time to make informed choices. He stands, offering his hand. Whatever you decide, thank you for coming today, for being brave enough to face me instead of running. I shake his hand, and his grip is warm, firm, respectful. Nothing like the predatory hold on my wrist last night. This is a businessman closing a deal, not a criminal making a threat. Marco drives me home, and I spend the rest of the day and night staring at the folder Alessandro gave me. It contains detailed information about the Vitali family's legitimate businesses. Restaurant chain called La Familia, 15 locations across Chicago. Vitali Construction, responsible for major projects throughout the city. Lakeside Waste Management, servicing businesses and residential areas. Vitali Property Group, managing apartment buildings and commercial real estate. The financial information is all there, transparent and detailed. These businesses are successful, profitable, and completely legal. Employment records show hundreds of workers, but also high turnover rates in certain positions. Exit interviews reveal complaints about management, about feeling undervalued, about not trusting the company. Alessandro was telling the truth. He does have an employee morale problem, and I could help fix it, if I'm willing to work for a crime family. At 6 a.m, after another sleepless night, I call the number on the business card. Maya Torres, I say when Marco answers. Tell Mr. Vitali I accept his offer. My first day working for the Vitali family starts at La Famiglia's flagship restaurant on Taylor Street, in the heart of what used to be Little Italy. The neighborhood has changed over the decades, but this strip of Taylor Street still holds on to its Italian roots, with red, white, and green painted on fire hydrants, and old men speaking Italian on stoops. The restaurant is beautiful. Exposed brick walls, dark wood, tables covered in crisp white linens. The smell of garlic and basil and slow-cooked tomato sauce fills the air, making my stomach growl. I'm early, deliberately so, wanting to see the morning prep before Alessandro arrives. The kitchen is chaos. Chefs chopping, pans sizzling, someone shouting in Italian about the quality of the mozzarella. I stand in the doorway, watching the organized frenzy, until someone notices me. Who are you? A middle-aged man in chef's whites approaches, his expression suspicious. Maya Torres. I'm the new employee relations coordinator. The what? I'm here to talk to employees about their experience working for the Vitali businesses, make sure everyone's happy, address concerns, that kind of thing. I offer my hand. You are? Sal Benedetto, executive chef. He doesn't shake my hand. Another one of the boss's ideas, huh? Some pretty young thing to smile and ask how we're feeling? I'm not here to smile and nod, I say evenly. I'm here to actually listen and make changes, but if you'd rather I leave, I can tell Mr. Vitali you weren't interested in participating. Sal's expression shifts to something between respect and amusement. You got balls, I'll give you that. Fine. You want to know how it is working here? Come back during lunch rush. That'll tell you everything you need to know. I spend the morning talking to servers, bussers, hosts, getting a feel for the operation. Most are nervous when they realize who I work for, but a few are willing to talk, once they understand I'm not there to spy or report them. The complaints are consistent. Long hours, unpredictable scheduling, managers who play favorites, not enough training for new employees, nothing dramatic, but the kind of grinding issues that make people quit. Alessandro arrives just before lunch service, and the restaurant's energy shifts immediately. Everyone stands a little straighter, works a little faster. He moves through the space like a king in his domain, greeting people by name, asking after family members, noticing details. When he spots me, his smile is warm. Maya, how's your first morning? Educational. I gesture to my notes. Can we talk after lunch rush? I have some thoughts. Of course. My office upstairs. He leans closer. And Maya? Welcome to the family business. The lunch rush is indeed revelatory. The kitchen is barely controlled chaos, servers snapping at each other, orders getting mixed up. When an elderly woman complains about her pasta, the server looks close to tears. I step in, smooth things over, and the look of gratitude I receive makes me realize just how much people working here need an advocate. After the rush ends, I head upstairs to Alessandro's office. It's smaller than his study at the estate, but it's still luxurious. Photos on the walls show the restaurant's history, dating back to 1968 when his grandfather opened the first location. So, Alessandro says, gesturing for me to sit, what's the diagnosis? I spend 20 minutes detailing what I observed. The scheduling chaos, the lack of clear communication from management, the way veteran employees hoard information instead of training new ones, creating a competitive rather than collaborative environment. Alessandro listens without interrupting, his expression growing more serious. When I finish, he's quiet for a moment. How do we fix it? Standardize the scheduling system. Implement mandatory training for all new employees. Create clear paths for advancement so people feel like there's opportunity. Hire a dedicated manager for each location, instead of having one person oversee 3 restaurants. And most importantly, regular check-ins with employees so they feel heard. That's expensive. So is constantly hiring and training new people because they quit after 3 months. I lean forward. Alessandro, you said you wanted your employees to be happy and loyal. That requires investment. Time, money, attention. You can't just throw money at the problem. You have to actually care. He studies me for a long moment. You're right. Of course you're right. He pulls out his phone. I'm setting up a meeting with our restaurant operations manager for tomorrow. I want you there. We'll start implementing your suggestions immediately. Just like that? I hired you to solve problems. You've identified the problems and proposed solutions. Why would I waste time arguing? He stands. Come on, you need to eat. He leads me back downstairs, where the lunch rush has ended and the kitchen is in cleanup mode. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. Sal, the chef, looks up when we enter. Mr. Vitali. Sal, make something special for Miss Torres. She's family now. Treat her right. Alessandro turns to me. I have a meeting in an hour. Marco will drive you anywhere you need to go. And Maya? Good work today. After he leaves, Sal's whole demeanor changes. Your family now, he repeats, his voice different, more respectful. That's not something the boss says lightly. What does it mean? It means you're under Vitali protection. That anyone who messes with you is messing with the family. Sal starts pulling out ingredients. That's serious business in our world. He makes me a pasta dish that tastes like my grandmother's kitchen, if my grandmother had been Italian instead of Mexican. While I eat, Sal talks, opening up in ways he wouldn't before. About working for the Vitales for 15 years, about how Alessandro personally paid for his daughter's college tuition when Sal couldn't afford it, about the loyalty the family inspires in its people. They take care of their own, Sal says. Always have. That's why people stay, even when the hours are rough. because they know the Vitalis don't abandon you. Over the next month, I visit every Vitali business. The restaurants, the construction sites, the waste management facilities, the property management offices. I talk to hundreds of employees, compile reports, make recommendations, and Alessandro implements them all. He doesn't just throw money at problems. He shows up. He visits job sites, remembers names, asks about families. He sits in on training sessions I develop. He backs me up when managers push back against changes. And slowly, I begin to understand the Vitali family empire. It's not just about crime and power. It's about legacy, about building something that lasts, about taking care of people who work for you. Yes, there are illegal operations. I'm not naive enough to think everything they do is clean. But the legitimate businesses, they're run with genuine care and attention. I also begin to understand Alessandro himself. He's at the estate most evenings, and I often work late, so Marco drives me there to deliver reports. I start staying for dinner, which turns into staying for hours, talking about everything from business to philosophy to our completely different upbringings. Alessandro was born into this world. Legacy and expectations wrapped around him from birth. His father died when Alessandro was 25, leaving him to run the family business before he was ready. He's been doing it for 10 years now, balancing legitimate operations with the illegal ones he inherited, trying to move the family toward respectability without abandoning the obligations his grandfather made. It's like steering an ocean liner with a canoe paddle, he tells me one night over wine in his study. Every change takes forever, and there are 100 people with opinions about which direction to go. So why do it at all? Why not just walk away, start over somewhere else? Because this is my family, my legacy, my responsibility. He refills my glass. And because if I walk away, someone less careful takes over. Someone who doesn't care about moving toward legitimacy. Someone who makes things worse instead of better. That's a lot of pressure. It is. But it's mine to carry. He looks at me, and there's something vulnerable in his expression. You understand that, don't you? Responsibility you didn't ask for but can't abandon. I do understand. I think of my mother, struggling with lupus she can't afford to treat properly. My younger brother, who I helped raise after my father left. The weight of being the responsible one, the one everyone else leans on. Yeah, I say softly. I understand. It's in these quiet moments that I start to see Alessandro as a man, not just a crime boss. He reads poetry in Italian. He plays piano, beautiful classical pieces that fill the house with music. He's teaching himself to cook, working through his grandmother's recipe book, because he wants to preserve family traditions. He calls his mother every Sunday, speaks to her in rapid Italian, his voice soft with affection. He's dangerous, yes, but he's also human, complex, trying to honor his past while building a better future. And I'm falling for him. It happens gradually, then all at once. The way he looks at me when I'm explaining a new employee program. The way he remembers how I take my coffee. The way he touches my hand when making a point, casual but electric. The way he listens, really listens, like my thoughts matter. 2 months into my employment, everything changes. I'm leaving the construction company's main office on the south side when a car pulls up. Not a Mercedes, not one of Alessandro's. This is a beat-up sedan, and the men who get out aren't dressed in expensive suits. Maya Torres? The one in front has a scar across his neck and cold eyes. Every instinct screams danger. I take a step back. Who's asking? Someone who wants to send a message to Alessandro Vitali. He grabs my arm, and I try to scream, but something covers my mouth, and the world goes dark. I wake up in a basement somewhere. Concrete walls, one bare bulb, the smell of mold and something worse. My head pounds, and my wrists are zip-tied behind my back. 3 men stand against the far wall, watching me. She's awake, one says. Good. Get Russo on the phone. Russo. That name I know. The Russo family controls the south side. Rivals to the Vitales. Territory disputes. Business conflicts. Old grudges that go back generations. A phone rings on speaker. You got her? A gravelly voice asks. Yeah, boss. Vitali's girl. Good. Send him proof of life and our demands. He backs off our territory, stops undercutting our waste management contracts, and gives us 3 points on the restaurant profits. He does that. He gets his girl back. He refuses. We send her back in pieces. My blood turns to ice. This isn't just a message. This is a declaration of war. with me as the opening shot. They take a photo of me, bound and gagged, and send it. Then they wait. 10 minutes later, one of their phones rings. They don't answer. It rings again, and again. Then the door at the top of the basement stairs explodes inward. What follows is violence like I've only seen in movies. Alessandro comes down those stairs like an avenging angel, and he's not alone. Marco is with him, along with 6 other men I recognize from the estate. They move with military precision, and the Russo men don't stand a chance. It's over in less than 2 minutes. The Russo men are on the ground, unconscious or worse. Alessandro crosses the basement to me, and the expression on his face makes me understand why people fear him. This is rage barely contained, violence held back only by force of will. But when he touches me, his hands are gentle. He removes the gag, cuts the zip ties, checks me for injuries with shaking fingers. Did they hurt you? Maya, look at me. Did they hurt you? No, I'm okay. How did you find me? I put a tracker in your phone and your purse, both of them, just in case. His arms come around me, and I realize he's trembling. Dio, when I saw that photo, when I realized they took you. I'm okay, I repeat, but my voice breaks. The adrenaline is wearing off, leaving me shaking and scared, and so grateful to see him that I start crying. Alessandro carries me up the stairs, past the destruction he and his men wreaked, to a waiting car. Marco drives while Alessandro holds me in the back seat, murmuring in Italian, words I don't understand but that sound like prayers or promises or both. We don't go to my apartment. We go to the estate, where a doctor is waiting to check me over. I'm bruised, dehydrated, but otherwise unharmed. After the doctor leaves, Alessandro leads me upstairs to a bedroom. You're staying here tonight. Tomorrow, we'll figure out next steps. But tonight, you're safe. I promise. He turns to leave, but I grab his hand. What happens to the Russo men? His expression darkens. They'll be dealt with. They touched what's mine. That doesn't go unanswered. Alessandro, no. His voice is hard. You don't get a vote on this. They kidnapped you, threatened to send you back in pieces. They declared war, and I'm going to finish it. He softens slightly. But you don't have to watch. You don't have to know the details. You just have to trust that I'll keep you safe. I do trust you. The words surprise me, but they're true. I'm terrified of what you do, of the world you live in, but I trust you. You came for me. Always. He kisses my forehead. Get some rest. Marco's outside your door, and there are 6 other men stationed around the house. No one will touch you again. I sleep fitfully, waking every few hours from nightmares of basements and cold eyes. Each time, I hear Marco's voice in the hallway, reassuring me with his presence. In the morning, I find Alessandro in his study, looking like he hasn't slept. Papers cover his desk, a phone pressed to his ear as he speaks rapid Italian. When he sees me, he ends the call. How are you feeling? Like I got kidnapped and traumatized. So, pretty terrible. I sit across from him. What happened after you brought me home? The Russo family and I had a conversation. A very pointed conversation about boundaries and consequences. His voice is calm, but there's steel underneath. They've agreed to leave you alone, to leave all my employees alone, and to pay restitution for what they did. Restitution. They're ceding their waste management contracts in 3 neighborhoods. That's about $15 million a year in revenue. They also issued a formal apology to me and to you. They apologized for kidnapping me? In our world, yes. It's how these things are handled. Alessandro stands, moving to where I sit. Maya, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Do you want to keep working for me? After this, after seeing what can happen, I won't blame you if you want out. I think about my apartment, my student loans, my precarious existence before Alessandro walked into that diner. I think about the work I've been doing, the employees who are happier now, who've thanked me for changes that improved their lives. I think about Alessandro himself, complex and dangerous, and trying so hard to be better than his legacy. I want to keep working for you, I say, but I have conditions. His eyebrows rise. Conditions? I want better security. I want to know how to defend myself if something like this happens again. And I want honesty, complete honesty, no more sugarcoating the dangerous parts. If I'm going to be part of this world, I need to understand all of it. Alessandro is quiet for a long moment. Then he nods. Agreed. Marco will train you in self-defense and basic security awareness. I'll brief you on family business, the legitimate and the less legal. And you'll have a security detail whenever you're in potentially dangerous areas. I don't need a babysitter. You need protection. My protection. Because Maya, you're not just an employee anymore. You haven't been for a while. He cups my face, his touch gentle. You've become important to me, essential. And I protect what's mine. I'm not yours. Not yet, but you could be. His thumb brushes across my cheekbone. If you wanted. The air between us crackles with tension. I should step back, maintain professional boundaries, remember that this is my boss and a crime boss at that, but I don't want to. I want to lean into his touch, to stop pretending I don't feel what I feel, to take what he's offering despite every reasonable objection. This is insane, I whisper. Probably. His smile is slight. But we've been building to this since you slapped me in that diner. Since you looked at me like I was just a man overstepping boundaries instead of someone to fear. You are someone to fear. Not for you. Never for you. He leans closer, and I can feel his breath on my lips. Tell me to stop. Tell me this is a terrible idea and you want to keep things professional. Tell me, and I'll step back. But if you don't, I don't tell him to. Stop. I kiss him instead, closing the distance between us, making a choice that will change everything. His arms come around me immediately, and the kiss deepens into something hungry and desperate and perfect. When we break apart, we're both breathing hard. Alessandro rests his forehead against mine. Stay with me, not just tonight. Stay here, in this house, where I know you're safe. Let me take care of you the way I've wanted to since the moment you challenged me. That's moving fast. I don't have time for slow. My world doesn't allow for it. His eyes hold mine. But I promise you, Maya, I'll give you every choice. Every step of the way, you get to decide. I'll never force you, never pressure you. Just let me try to make you happy. Let me try to deserve you. I should say no. Should be smart and cautious and remember all the reasons this is a terrible idea. But I'm so tired of being smart and cautious. So tired of being alone. Okay, I say. I'll stay. His smile is brilliant. Yeah? Yeah, you impossible man. But Alessandro, if this goes wrong, if you hurt me or betray my trust, I will slap you again. Harder this time. His laugh is joyous. I wouldn't expect anything less. Moving into the Vitali estate feels like stepping into a different universe. My tiny apartment with its broken radiator and questionable plumbing becomes a memory. Now I wake up in a bedroom bigger than my old living room, with a bathroom that has heated floors and a shower with 6 different settings. But it's not the luxury that changes things. It's the life I'm building with Alessandro. We settle into a routine. Mornings, we have coffee together in the sunroom, discussing business and family updates. Days, I work on employee relations, while Alessandro handles the complicated web of legitimate and illegitimate operations. Evenings, we cook together, using his grandmother's recipes, arguing about proper pasta techniques, and whether garlic should be minced or pressed. Nights, we're just Maya and Alessandro, not employee and boss, not civilian and crime lord, just 2 people learning each other's rhythms, sharing space, building intimacy. He introduces me to his family properly. His mother, Francesca, is a force of nature. Tiny but fierce, with sharp eyes that see everything and a tendency to speak her mind in rapid Italian when she's excited or angry. Chinese? She says when Alessandro brings me to Sunday dinner for the first time. Chinese? You bring me a Chinese girl? Si, mama. And you'll be polite, or I'll leave and take Maya with me. Alessandro's voice is respectful but firm. Francesca looks me over, head to toe, assessing. Then she pulls me into a tight hug that smells like garlic and perfume. If my Alessandro loves you, your family. Welcome. Sunday dinners become a regular thing. The entire Vitali family gathers at Francesca's house, which is even bigger than Alessandro's estate. His sister Gianna is warm and funny, immediately adopting me as the sister she never had. His brother Dante is more serious, questioning, protective of Alessandro and suspicious of anyone new. His aunts and uncles and cousins fill the house with noise and laughter and arguments in Italian that switch to English when they remember I can't follow. The food is incredible. Course after course of homemade pasta, braciole, roasted vegetables, fresh bread, desserts that Francesca makes from memory, recipes passed down through generations. Wine that Alessandro imports from Italy, from vineyards his family has connections to. This is familia. Francesca tells me during my first dinner, patting my hand. Family. Everyone comes home on Sunday. No excuses. This is how we stay strong. I learn the codes and customs. The importance of loyalty. The value of keeping family business private. The way respect is earned and maintained. The unspoken hierarchy, with Alessandro at the top but his mother still wielding significant influence. I learn Italian phrases, starting with the most important ones. Mangia when Francesca is feeding me too much. Basta when Alessandro's cousins are teasing him. Ti amo, which Alessandro teaches me one night, whispering it against my skin until I repeat it back. I love you. Because I do love him. Against all logic and reason, I've fallen completely for Alessandro Vitali, for the man who reads poetry and plays piano, for the boss who shows up to construction sites to check on his workers, for the son who calls his mother every day, for the person who looks at me like I'm the most important thing in his world. 3 months after moving in, I'm in his study working on a new training program when Marco appears at the door. Boss, we've got a situation. Alessandro's expression shifts immediately from relaxed to alert. What kind of situation? The Russo family. They're pushing back on the neighborhood agreements. Antonio says they've been approaching our businesses again, offering protection that undercuts our rates. Alessandro's jaw tightens. Set up a meeting. Tonight. I want all the family heads there. It's time to remind everyone why boundaries exist. After Marco leaves, I turn to Alessandro. The Russos. The ones who kidnapped me. Yes, apparently the lesson didn't take. His voice is cold, but it will after tonight. What are you going to do? What I have to. Remind them that the Vitalis don't tolerate disrespect. He sees my expression and softens slightly. I'm not going to start a war, Kara. But I'm not going to let them think they can violate our agreements without consequences. Can I come? Absolutely not. Alessandro. No. These meetings can turn violent. I'm not risking you. His tone brooks no argument. Stay here. Marco will remain with you. I'll be back before midnight. He's back at 11:30, and I'm awake, waiting in his study. The second he walks through the door, I know something's wrong. He's moving stiffly, and when he shrugs off his jacket, I see blood on his shirt. Oh God, what happened? It's not my blood. Mostly. He tries to smile, but it comes out as a grimace. The meeting didn't go as planned. Russo's son got aggressive, made threats. Things escalated. I make him sit while I get the first aid kit. When I unbutton his shirt, I find bruised ribs and a cut across his shoulder that needs cleaning. Nothing serious, but evidence of violence that makes my hands shake. You need to see a doctor. I've had worse. I'll be fine. He catches my hand. Stop looking at me like that. Like what? Like you're realizing exactly what I am. What I do. His voice is quiet. This is my world, Maya. Violence and threats and consequences. I tried to protect you from seeing it, but you were always going to eventually. I clean the cut carefully, my mind racing. He's right. I knew intellectually what Alessandro did, the world he operated in. But seeing the evidence on his body, the blood and bruises from a meeting that escalated, makes it visceral and real. I'm not running, I say quietly. You should. Probably. But I'm not. I meet his eyes. I love you. That doesn't change because I saw proof of what you do. It just means I understand the full cost of being with you. Alessandro pulls me into his lap, careful of his injuries. I love you too. More than I thought I was capable of loving anyone. And I swear to you, Maya, I'm working to make things safer, to move the family toward legitimacy, to build a world where I don't come home bloody from business meetings. How long will that take? Years. Maybe a decade. There are obligations I have to honor, debts my grandfather incurred that I'm still paying off. But I'm trying. Every day, I'm trying. He kisses me softly. Can you wait? Can you stay with me while I build something better? I think about the life I had before Alessandro, the loneliness, the struggle, the feeling of drowning with no one to notice. I think about the life I have now, the work that matters, the family that's accepted me, the man who looks at me like I hung the moon. Yes, I say. I can wait. I'll wait as long as it takes. 6 months later, I'm at La Famiglia's flagship restaurant, meeting with Sal about a new mentorship program for junior chefs, when Alessandro calls. Kara, can you come to the estate? There's something I need to ask you. Is everything okay? Everything's perfect. Just come home. I find him in the garden, which is in full bloom now that it's summer. He set up a table with candles and wine and what looks like a picnic dinner. As I approach, he stands, and I notice he's nervous. Alessandro Vitali, who faces rival crime families without flinching, is nervous about whatever he's about to say. You're scaring me, I say. Don't be scared. He takes my hands. Maya, when you slapped me in that diner, you changed my life. You made me see myself clearly for the first time in years. You've made me want to be better, to build something worthy of you. You've given me a reason to work toward legitimacy, toward a future where I'm not just a crime boss but a man you can be proud of. He drops to one knee, and my heart stops. I know my world is dangerous. I know I come with complications and risks, but I also know that I love you with everything I am. And I know that I want to spend the rest of my life trying to deserve you. He pulls out a ring box, opening it to reveal a simple platinum band with a single diamond. Elegant, understated, perfect. Maya Torres, will you marry me? I should think about it. Should consider all the implications of marrying into a crime family. Should weigh the dangers and complications against the love and security. But I've never been good at being cautious where Alessandro is concerned. Yes, I say, pulling him to his feet. Yes, I'll marry you. His smile is brilliant, and when he kisses me, it tastes like promises and forever. We marry 3 months later in a small ceremony at St. Michael's Catholic Church in Little Italy, where 4 generations of Vitalis have been baptized, confirmed, and married. Francesca cries through the entire ceremony. Gianna stands as my maid of honor, even though we've only known each other a few months. Marco is Alessandro's best man, and he makes a toast about how I'm the only person brave enough to slap the boss and live to tell about it. My family is there, confused but supportive when they see how Alessandro treats me. My mother pulls me aside before the ceremony. Mija, you're sure about this? About him? I look across the church at Alessandro, who's talking with Dante and laughing at something his brother said. He catches my eye and smiles, and the love in his expression is so clear it makes my chest ache. I'm sure, Mama. He's complicated and dangerous and not what I planned. But he's mine, and I'm his, and that's enough. The reception is held at La Famiglia, which has been closed for the day and decorated like something from a fairy tale. We dance to Italian music, eat food that Sal prepared personally, toast with wine that Alessandro's family has been saving for this occasion. As the night winds down and guests begin to leave, Alessandro pulls me onto the dance floor for one last song. It's just us, swaying in the empty restaurant, his arms around me. What are you thinking? I ask. That I'm the luckiest man alive, that you chose me despite everything, that I get to spend the rest of my life making you happy. I'm already happy. Then I get to spend the rest of my life keeping you that way. He kisses me softly. Thank you, cara mia, for seeing past the reputation to the man underneath, for giving me a chance when you should have run. Thank you for grabbing my wrist that night. He laughs. Still the most dangerous thing I've ever done, pissing off Maya Torres. And you've been paying for it ever since. Happily. I'd do it all again just to get here. He spins me gently. Ready to go home? Home. The Vitale estate, which has become ours, where we've built a life together, complicated and imperfect but real. Yes, I say. Let's go home. A year after I slapped Alessandro Vitali in a diner at 2 a.m, I'm sitting in my office at La Familia's headquarters, reviewing employee satisfaction surveys. The numbers are incredible. Retention is up 45%. Complaints are down 60%. People actually want to work for Vitali businesses now. Alessandro appears in the doorway, carrying 2 cups of coffee. How's the empire of employee happiness? Thriving. We should expand the mentorship program to the construction division. Tony says he's losing skilled workers because they don't see advancement opportunities. Make it happen. He sets a coffee on my desk. You're the expert. I'm your wife. You're supposed to argue with me sometimes. Why would I argue with someone who's always right? He grins. Besides, you've improved our businesses more in 1 year than I did in 5. I'd be a fool to second-guess you. Flattery will get you everywhere. I'm counting on it. He kisses me, soft and sweet. Dinner with Mama tonight. She's making lasagna. What's the occasion? No occasion. She just wants to feed us. He pauses. Though she did mention something about when we're planning to give her grandchildren. Tell your mother to be patient. I did, she responded in Italian. I'm pretty sure it was a curse, he laughs. But seriously, Maya, are you happy? With all this? With me? I look around my office, at the evidence of work that matters. I think about the life we've built, the family that's embraced me, the man who wakes up beside me every morning. It's not perfect. There are still dangers, still complications from Alessandro's world, but it's real and honest and full of love. Impossibly happy, I say. Against all logic and reason, impossibly happy. Good, he pulls me to my feet, into his arms. Because I plan to spend the rest of my life keeping you that way. And somehow, improbably, I believe him. 5 years later, I'm standing in the garden of the Vitali estate, watching Alessandro teach our 3-year-old daughter Sofia how to plant tomatoes. She's got dirt on her face and in her hair, and she's laughing as Alessandro speaks to her in Italian, teaching her the words for soil and seed and water. Francesca sits beside me, watching them with obvious satisfaction. He's a good father. He is. You're good for him. Made him softer. Happier. She pats my hand. I'm glad you slapped him that night. I laugh. You know about that? Of course I know. Everyone knows. It's family legend now. The woman brave enough to put Alessandro Vitali in his place. She smiles. Best thing that ever happened to him. I watch my husband and daughter, my strange and complicated family, the life I never planned but couldn't imagine leaving. Sofia shrieks with laughter as Alessandro pretends to be scared of a worm. He's still a crime boss, still operates in gray areas, still has enemies and dangers I don't fully understand. But he's also a man who reads bedtime stories in Italian, who makes sure I'm happy, who spent 5 years slowly moving the family toward legitimacy. Next year, the waste management business will be sold. The construction company is already completely clean. The restaurants have always been legitimate. It's happening slowly, but it's happening. The Vitali family is changing, becoming something new, and I get to be part of that transformation. Alessandro looks up, catches my eye, and smiles. That smile that's just for me, full of love and promise and shared history. I smile back, my hand resting on my slightly rounded stomach, where our second child is growing. This is my life now. Complicated and dangerous and beautiful and real. And I wouldn't change a single thing. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you love this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.